10 terrifying archaeological discoveries, scarier than horror movies, scientists don't want to reveal. Hello, and welcome back to the Ancient History Channel. Dear friends, for hundreds of years, archaeology has been like a special key, slowly unlocking the doors of the past and helping us better understand the civilizations that once existed and eventually disappeared. Every site that is excavated, every artifact that is discovered, adds another piece to what once seemed like a nearly complete picture of human history. However, not every discovery fits neatly within the explanations written in textbooks. There have been moments when even scientists themselves were left standing in stunned silence before strange skeletons that appear to be millions of years old, or mysterious traces that do not seem to belong to any time period we currently recognize. At other times, deep beneath the Earth's surface, researchers have uncovered enigmatic architectural structures built with techniques that appear to surpass our current understanding. From that moment on, long-standing theories suddenly begin to shake. What makes these discoveries even more remarkable is that they don't just puzzle researchers, they force the entire world to ask an important question. Have we truly understood the origins and development of the human species correctly? Could human history be far more complex and mysterious than what we have been taught? In today's video, we will explore some of the most shocking archaeological discoveries ever made, mysteries that have compelled scientists to reconsider many of their fundamental ideas about the past. So what exactly are these discoveries? And what stories lie hidden behind the layers of time and dust? Right now, join Ancient History as we begin this fascinating journey of discovery. The 1,500-year-old remains of a Maya queen found inside a pyramid in Guatemala. Inside a mysterious pyramid deep within the dense jungles of Guatemala, where towering ancient trees block out the sky and the constant chorus of insects fills the air day and night, archaeologists have recently uncovered a discovery that has left the entire research community stunned. It is the skeleton of a woman believed to have been a Maya queen, dating back approximately 1,500 years. At first, that number may simply sound like a distant point in time, but when you truly think about it, it represents an entire dynasty, an entire life of power that once existed before, slowly fading into obscurity. So far, the woman's exact identity remains unknown. Who was she? Was her name once carved into stone monuments or recorded in ancient inscriptions? For now, those questions remain unanswered. Yet the research team believes strongly that she was indeed a queen. And why are they so confident about that? The answer lies in the burial location and the objects placed alongside her. Her tomb was discovered within a complex of 3 pyramids located on the outskirts of the ancient city of Huitzna, in Guatemala's Holma region. The 3 pyramids still rise dramatically from the jungle, as if they continue to guard secrets that have been hidden for more than 1,000 years. Being buried in such a prestigious location suggests that this woman could not have been an ordinary person. In ancient Maya society, where status and authority were clearly reflected in funeral rituals, only individuals of the highest rank were laid to rest in sacred and monumental places like this. But the discoveries did not stop there. While excavating a nearby watchtower, scientists also uncovered the remains of children who are believed to have been sacrificed. This detail makes the picture of the past appear both magnificent and chilling at the same time. Ritual sacrifice was once an important part of Maya spiritual life, and its presence here suggests that this complex played a significant role within the political and religious structure of the time. Yet one smaller discovery turned out to provide an extraordinary amount of information. Archaeologists found finely crafted ceramic vessels that were used to hold chocolate, a precious beverage in Maya civilization. On one of these containers, there was an inscription describing the name of the king who owned it. At first glance, it might seem like a simple object, just a chocolate container, right? But from that seemingly ordinary artifact, researchers were able to gather a remarkable amount of information. They could trace the identity of the vessel's owner, learn more about family relationships, and even estimate when this person may have died. From just a single inscription carved into pottery, an entire network of information about a royal dynasty, bloodlines, and historical connections began to emerge. As archaeologists themselves have explained, it is truly incredible how much knowledge can be uncovered from something as simple as this object. But this discovery raises an even more intriguing question. If a queen was buried within this complex, could the remains of a king still be hidden somewhere among those 3 pyramids? That question has made the excavation more exciting than ever. Perhaps beneath the tangled roots, layers of soil, and ancient stones, there is still an undiscovered tomb waiting to be found. A resting place where a Maya king lies quietly, patiently waiting for humanity to become curious and determined enough to uncover the truth. What do you think? 800 skeletons and 1,200-year-old mystery on the summit of the Himalayas. At an elevation of more than 16,500 feet above sea level, there is a place whose very name can send chills down your spine. Yes, this is Rupkund Lake, also known as the Skeleton Lake, located in the state of Uttarakhand, India. This small lake sits quietly beneath the majestic Trisol mountain range in the Himalayas, and for most of the year it remains almost completely covered in snow and ice. To reach this remote location, travelers must hike for about 5 days through rugged mountain terrain. Yet it was in this isolated place that one of the most chilling mysteries of the 20th century was accidentally revealed. The story began in the summer of 1942, during the height of World War II. An Indian forest ranger named Hari Kishan Madhwal was on patrol when he came across a sight he could hardly believe. As the ice began to melt, hundreds of human skeletons and skulls slowly appeared around the lake. Some bodies still had flesh attached to them. The more the ice melted, the more remains emerged from beneath the water. Researchers later estimated that as many as 800 bodies were scattered throughout the area. At that time, British officials who governed India were immediately alarmed. They feared the remains might belong to Japanese soldiers secretly preparing an invasion. However, after careful examination, this theory was quickly dismissed. Soon, other explanations began to emerge. Some suggested that the skeletons belonged to Tibetan traders traveling along the Silk Road, who may have died from disease along their journey. But there was something strange. None of the bones showed signs of illness. Even more puzzling, no weapons, tools, clothing, or personal belongings were found nearby. A group of people that large, if they had died from war or robbery, should have left behind some trace. Local folklore offers a far more spiritual explanation. According to legend, the site was the scene of a terrifying hailstorm sent by the goddess Nanda Devi, a revered deity in Hinduism. The story says that Nanda Devi once left her homeland for a distant kingdom but was treated disrespectfully by the king and queen. Later, when they organized a pilgrimage to seek the goddess's forgiveness, they broke sacred tradition by bringing dancers and musicians along, turning the holy journey into a celebration rather than an act of devotion. Angered by this disrespect, the goddess unleashed a violent snowstorm and deadly hailstorm, destroying the entire group and sweeping them into the lake. According to this belief, the skeletons serve as a warning to anyone who dares to offend the gods. But science does not stop at legends. After a 5-year study, scientists reached a shocking conclusion. The remains at the lake are approximately 1,200 years old. Carbon dating revealed that the people did not die at the same time. Some groups were separated by as much as 1,000 years. Genetic analysis made the mystery even more complex. Among the skeletons, 23 individuals were identified as having ancestry related to modern Indian populations, who died between the 7th and 10th centuries. Meanwhile, 14 skeletons were found to have genetic ties to people from the Greek island of Crete in the Mediterranean. Another skeleton showed Southeast Asian ancestry. This group of 15 individuals is believed to have died between the 17th and 20th centuries, possibly during the same event. They were all healthy adult men and women with no signs of disease. So what could have brought people from India, Greece, and Southeast Asia together at an altitude of more than 16,000 feet in the middle of the Himalayas? Why did they die without leaving behind a single tool or personal item? And perhaps even more troubling, the area today is not strictly protected. Many skeletons have been moved by climbers and hikers, some even taken away as souvenirs. Every action like this may erase an important clue. The deeper researchers dig, the more the mystery grows. Rupkund Lake still lies there quietly among the clouds of the Himalayas, as if guarding a story that humanity still does not have enough pieces to fully understand. And perhaps it is precisely this unfinished story that has made the Skeleton Lake one of the most haunting mysteries in the world, even to this day. 4,000-year-old princess mummy, found in the desert, still strikingly beautiful. In the dry lands of Xinjiang, A region that was once an important part of the legendary Silk Road, history is not found only in books. It also lies sleeping beneath the scorching sands of the desert. For thousands of years, this region served as a crossroads between the East and the West, where merchants, cultures, and mysterious stories all passed through. And right in the middle of this once bustling land over the past several decades, archaeologists from around the world have discovered hundreds of ancient mummies. But do you know what makes these mummies so extraordinary? Unlike the mummies of Egypt, they were not preserved using chemicals. Instead, they were naturally preserved by the extremely dry air and harsh desert climate. As a result, when experts first saw these bodies, having survived for thousands of years yet remaining almost perfectly intact, many were left completely astonished. Among the many archaeological sites in the region, one location has attracted particular attention from researchers: the Xiaohe Cemetery. The story of this site began in 1934, when Swedish archaeologist Folke Bergman arrived in the Lop Nur region to conduct surveys. After days of searching through the vast sea of sand, he discovered an ancient cemetery filled with mysterious coffins. However, at that time, large-scale excavation was not carried out, and the Xiaohe Cemetery was once again swallowed by the desert sands. It was not until 2000 that archaeologists from the Xinjiang Institute of Cultural Relics and Archaeology launched a large-scale search in the Lop Nur area. Using modern satellite positioning technology, they successfully relocated the long-lost cemetery. 3 years later, in 2003, official excavations finally began. And from that moment on, secrets that had slept for nearly 4,000 years slowly began to emerge. The Xiaohe Cemetery turned out to be much larger than anyone had imagined. Scientists determined that it dates back about 3,500 to 4,000 years, roughly the same period as ancient Chinese dynasties such as the Xia and Shang. In total, 167 tombs were excavated at the site, but among all of them, one burial stood out the most: the tomb of a woman whom scientists later named the Princess of Xiaohe. When archaeologists opened her coffin, the entire team was almost speechless. The mummy was preserved to an unbelievable degree. On her head was a white hat, and her hair was still neatly arranged. Her face had barely been damaged by time. Deep eye sockets, long thick eyelashes, and a high nose bridge. Even the outline of her lips remained clearly visible, and the corners of her mouth seemed to hold a faint smile after thousands of years. Her clothing also drew great curiosity. Around her neck was a red cord necklace decorated with beads, and on her wrist, she wore a bracelet made of tubular jade beads. Her body was wrapped in a large white wool cloak, draped from right to left. 2 carefully carved wooden pins were fastened to the front of the cloak, along with 2 small red willow sticks. On her feet, she still wore a pair of leather boots. When archaeologists opened the cloak, they discovered that the mummy's body was covered with a white substance. Analysis revealed that it was a compound derived from dairy products, which acted as a natural protective layer that helped preserve the body almost perfectly. The princess's coffin was boat-shaped, tightly wrapped in cowhide, and buried deep beneath the sand. Inside the coffin, researchers also found a small amount of cheese. Thanks to the desert's dry and hot climate, the cheese has survived to this day. Experts believe this may have been food buried with the deceased, suggesting that people at that time believed in life after death or rebirth. Based on the artifacts discovered in the tomb, scientists believe the woman once held a high social status. That is why they named her the Princess of Xiaohe, after the place where she was found. But the most surprising twist came later, after DNA testing. The results showed that she was a mixed descendant of both Asian and European ancestry. This discovery proves that thousands of years ago, Xinjiang was already a meeting point of multiple cultures. Later, scientists used computer graphics software to reconstruct the princess's face. When the portrait was revealed, many people were amazed. Her face looked remarkably modern, almost like that of a woman from today's world. Some even believe that when she was alive, she might have been even more beautiful. Just imagine it. In the harsh desert along the Silk Road, a woman lay sleeping for 4,000 years, carrying the bloodlines of 2 continents within her. An ancient princess, yet with a face that looks as though it could belong to someone who just stepped out of the modern world. So the question remains, how many similar stories are still buried beneath the sands of Xinjiang? Personally, I believe there could be many more. It's just that, for now, humanity may not yet have the ability to uncover them all. An Ice Age, woolly rhinoceros. Mummy discovered in Siberia. In the frozen lands of Siberia, where winter can last almost the entire year and the ground remains locked beneath layers of permafrost, a surprising discovery has recently stirred both the scientific community and people online. The discovery happened in August 2024, when gold miners working near a quarry in the Sakha Republic of Russia stumbled upon something they could hardly believe at first. Yes, what they found was the mummified body of an ancient woolly rhinoceros. This was not just a few scattered bones like many other fossils. Instead, the rhinoceros was almost completely intact. Its large horn was still in its original position, and even more astonishing, many parts of the animal's soft tissue had been preserved after tens of thousands of years. When the first images were uploaded to Telegram, they spread across the internet at an incredible speed. From scientists to enthusiasts of natural history, everyone was curious about how such an ancient creature could be preserved so well. Shortly after receiving the news, a research team from Northeastern Federal University quickly arrived at the site. Scientists immediately recovered the rhinoceros's horn so it could be preserved and carefully studied. The rest of the mummy is expected to be excavated gradually over the coming months. Researchers must proceed with extreme caution because even a small mistake could damage the precious data that nature has protected for tens of thousands of years. In fact, when we look at the bigger picture, Siberia has long been considered a massive natural archive of Earth's history. The region's permafrost acts almost like a gigantic natural freezer. Thanks to the extremely low temperatures, the remains of many ancient animals have been preserved here, from woolly mammoths and cave lions to woolly rhinoceroses. These creatures are almost like being frozen inside a time capsule, allowing scientists to observe details that ordinary fossils usually cannot preserve. What makes this discovery especially remarkable is the fact that soft tissues of the rhinoceros are still present. Because of this, researchers will not only study the skeleton but also investigate the animal's body structure, diet, and even the environment it lived in during the Ice Age. According to Maxim Cheprasov, a senior researcher at the Mammoth Museum of NEFU, this is the fifth time scientists have discovered a woolly rhinoceros with preserved soft tissue. However, he emphasized that this is the first specimen found in such exceptionally good condition. The woolly rhinoceros was once one of the iconic animals of the Pleistocene epoch, a period that lasted from about 2.6 million years ago until roughly 11,700 years ago. During that time, these massive animals lived across the cold regions of Northern Europe, Asia, and even North America. However, about 10,000 years ago, the species became extinct, most likely due to climate change combined with hunting pressure from early humans. In the coming months, scientists plan to continue excavating the rest of the rhinoceros mummy in order to determine its age, sex, and physical condition when it was alive. The horn itself will also undergo detailed analysis to help researchers better understand the morphology and development of this ancient rhinoceros species. So here's an interesting question to think about. Do you believe that deep beneath the frozen ground of Siberia, there are still many other time capsules waiting to be discovered one day? Or do you have another thought about this mysterious land? If you do, feel free to share your opinion by leaving a comment below this video. 33 feet giant human skeleton discovered in Romania. Throughout human history, stories about giants have always sparked both curiosity and skepticism. From ancient legends to stories passed down by local communities, the image of human-like beings with enormous size seems to appear in many parts of the world. Some people believe these stories are simply products of imagination. Yet there have also been reports from individuals who claim to have personally seen unusually tall and massive human-like figures. So the question remains, did giants really exist in human history, or are they nothing more than myths? Although no one can answer that question with complete certainty, one of the most controversial stories related to the existence of giants emerged in 1976 during mining operations in the region of Roșia, Montana, Romania. While digging deep underground, workers reportedly discovered a massive skeleton measuring about 33 feet in length, lying inside an ancient tunnel. This tunnel had long been rumored to have connections to the legendary land known as Hyperborea, a mysterious place mentioned in several writings from ancient Greece. According to ancient records, Hyperborea was described as a land located far to the north, inhabited by a people known as the Hyperboreans. Some writings dating back to around 450 BC claim that life there was unlike anywhere else on Earth. The Hyperboreans were said to live extraordinarily long lives, up to 1,000 years. Even more astonishing, a single day in that land was described as lasting as long as an entire year in our world. The people there supposedly lived peacefully, free from war and disease. Their society was said to revolve around music, art, and musical instruments that they created themselves. However, the most fascinating part of the legend involves the giants who were believed to guard that land. According to some accounts, armies from across the Atlantic Ocean once attempted to invade Hyperborea, but they were allegedly stopped by the gigantic allies of the people who lived there. Stories like these have led some to believe that the Hyperboreans, and perhaps giants themselves, might have once truly existed. The existence of Hyperborea has long been debated among historians and scholars. Some theories suggest that the land may have once been located in the Arctic region or in the far northern areas of Asia, such as Siberia or even the northern regions of modern-day China. Meanwhile, French author Robert Charroux proposed a far more unconventional idea. He suggested that the Hyperboreans may have actually been ancient astronauts from another planet. According to his theory, they chose to live in Earth's coldest regions because the climate there resembled the environment of their original home world. Returning to the controversial discovery in Romania, the place where the giant skeleton was allegedly found is known as Tunnel Number 13, located beneath the village of Cornea. Some sources claim that this tunnel may have been constructed around 5,500 years ago by an ancient tribe called the Agathyrsi. But the strange details did not stop with the giant skeleton. During the excavation, when a large tombstone was lifted, those present reportedly discovered the entrance to a hidden underground chamber. The passage had a diameter of about 13 feet and led downward through a spiral staircase. Then something truly bizarre happened. Witnesses claimed that from deep within the chamber, a strange faint purple glow began to emerge, almost like a glowing mist. No one present could determine the source of the mysterious light. At that moment, a linguist who was part of the team decided to descend the staircase to investigate what was hidden below. But the unsettling part of the story is that no one else was brave enough to follow him. According to the story, the man never returned. From that moment on, it is said that those who witnessed the event were required to sign confidentiality agreements, and the discovery in the tunnel was never officially discussed again. So what exactly lies beneath that staircase leading into the underground chamber? To this day, the answer remains unknown. Of course, the story does not end with Roșia, Montana. In other regions of Romania, such as Scarier and the Bușigi Mountains, local residents have also reported discovering unusually large human skeletons measuring more than 8 feet in length, often found alongside ancient pottery fragments. Between the 1940s and 1950s, some excavations were even rumored to have uncovered around 80 skeletons measuring between 13 and 16 feet tall. Then, in 1989, approximately 20 more giant skeletons were reportedly discovered in the Pantelimon area. Yet what makes these stories even more puzzling is that the skeletons later seem to disappear from scientific records. There are very few official documents and no publicly displayed specimens. What remains are mostly oral stories and scattered written accounts, which leads us back to the same haunting question. Did these giant skeletons truly exist? Or are they simply stories that have grown more mysterious with time? And if giants once walked on this earth, where did they go? Do you think you might have an answer to these mysterious questions? 2,300-year-old warship beneath the waters of Egypt. On July 19th, in the deep blue waters near Abu Qir Bay, off the coast of Egypt, archaeologists were stunned when they discovered the wreck of an ancient military ship lying on the seabed, right in the middle of the ruins of the legendary city of Thonis Herakleion. Hearing this, many people might wonder, what kind of place was this city that it attracts so much attention from scientists? In fact, more than 2,000 years ago, Thonis Herakleion was once the busiest seaport in Egypt along the Mediterranean coast. Located at the western mouth of the Nile River, it functioned like a massive gateway of trade. Ships from across the ancient world docked there, goods were exchanged, merchants gathered, and different cultures intersected in this vibrant port city. For centuries, Thonis Herakleion controlled nearly all commercial activity in the surrounding region. But history often changes in unexpected ways. In 331 BC, Alexander the Great ordered the construction of the city of Alexandria nearby. The rise of this new metropolis quickly caused Thonis Heracleion to lose its importance. However, what ultimately caused the city to disappear was not economics or politics, but the overwhelming force of nature. Powerful earthquakes and devastating tsunamis repeatedly struck the Nile Delta region. The land subsided, massive structures collapsed, and eventually the vast port city, along with part of the surrounding plain, was swallowed by the sea. From that moment on, Thonis Heracleion vanished from the map and became almost a legendary story in the history of ancient Egypt. It was not until 2001 that scientists finally discovered traces of this lost city beneath the waters of Abu Qir Bay, near Alexandria, the second largest city in Egypt today. Since then, every underwater excavation has revealed new pieces of the past. One of the most remarkable discoveries occurred during a recent survey. A team of Egyptian and French scientists from the European Institute for Underwater Archaeology uncovered an ancient military vessel near what was once its mooring location. Interestingly, the ship was found not far from the Temple of Amun, one of the most sacred and famous structures of the ancient city. According to preliminary analyses by Egypt's Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, the ship measures about 82 feet long. It was equipped with both oars and a large sail and was built using traditional ancient Egyptian shipbuilding techniques. This suggests that it may once have served as an important warship or patrol vessel in the harbor's defense system. But the story does not end there. When archaeologists expanded their exploration to another section of the submerged city, they discovered the remains of a Greek funerary complex dating back to the early 4th century BC. This discovery revealed something extremely fascinating. Toward the end of the Pharaonic period, Greek merchants had been allowed to settle in Thonis Heracleion. They did not simply come to trade and then leave. These merchants built their own temples near the massive temple dedicated to the god Amun, the supreme deity in ancient Egyptian belief. This clearly shows that the port city was once a powerful center of cultural interaction between Egypt and the Greek world. However, when the natural disaster struck, everything collapsed. The religious structures built by the Greeks were also swept into the catastrophe, buried beneath the ruins along with the Temple of Amun and the rest of the city. So what do you think? How many untold stories might Thonis Heracleion still be hiding beneath the waters of the Mediterranean Sea? Could the next discovery completely change what we know about the history of ancient Egypt? If you happen to know something interesting about this mystery, don't hesitate to share it with us. 40,000-year-old foal mummy found almost perfectly preserved in Siberia. Did you know that discovering fossils of ancient animals is already an extremely difficult task? In most cases, after tens of thousands of years buried underground, what remains are usually only a few scattered bones. If scientists are lucky, they might uncover a nearly complete skeleton. But sometimes, nature creates moments so extraordinary that they leave the entire scientific community in awe. This time, such a miracle happened in the freezing land of Siberia, a region that many people have long referred to with an eerie nickname, the Gateway to Hell. Right in the Bottigiaka crater sediment area of Siberia, scientists recently documented an extraordinary discovery. They found the body of a young horse estimated to be about 40,000 years old, and its condition is almost unbelievably well preserved. Not only the skeleton, but the entire body of this animal has remained intact after tens of thousands of years buried within permafrost. A creature that lived around 40,000 years ago, during a time when modern humans were still in the early chapters of their history, has now appeared before scientists looking almost exactly as it did when it was alive. The foal was discovered deep within the frozen layers of Bottigiaka. When researchers carefully brought it to the surface and began examining it, they realized that it had been only about 3 months old when it died. What makes the discovery even more astonishing is that its fur, mane, and even its tail are still intact. Not only that, but many of its internal organs have also been preserved in nearly complete condition. Experts say discoveries like this are extremely rare. In archaeology and paleontology, finding a prehistoric animal with soft tissue, fur, and internal organs still preserved is considered a true scientific treasure. Every small detail can help researchers better understand the environments in which ancient animals lived in Earth's distant past. This remarkable discovery quickly attracted the attention of scientists from around the world. Specialists from Northeastern Federal University partnered with researchers from Kindai University to analyze this precious specimen. They hope that the 40,000-year-old foal will reveal important clues about ancient climates and ecosystems that existed during the Ice Age. The location where the foal was discovered, Bottigiega crater, is itself an extraordinary place. The massive crater is about 300 feet deep and nearly half a mile wide, about 0.5 miles. But what makes it even more remarkable is that it is not a stable natural formation. Instead, the crater continues to expand as the permafrost beneath the ground gradually melts. According to scientists, the edge of the crater can grow by about 33 to 98 feet every year. This slow but powerful process of thawing has unintentionally unlocked ancient secrets that have been trapped in ice for tens of thousands of years. And the foal is not the only discovery made at Bottigiega. In the past, researchers have uncovered many other fossils there, including remains of ancient moose, woolly mammoths, and various other prehistoric animals. However, Bottigiega is famous not only for its scientific discoveries. For many years, local residents have shared strange stories about unusual phenomena in the area. Some claim that mysterious sounds can occasionally be heard rising from deep underground, sometimes even loud explosive noises echoing from the region they call the Gateway to Hell. While these stories remain controversial, scientists see Bottigiega in a very different way. To them, it is like a gateway leading directly into Earth's distant past. According to Semyon Grigoriev, the head of the Mammoth Museum, the discovery of this ancient foal provides a rare opportunity to study the environments in which animals lived during the Ice Age. By analyzing its tissues, DNA, and remaining biological traces, scientists may be able to reconstruct parts of the climate and ecosystem that existed tens of thousands of years ago. Even more importantly, at a time when climate change is causing permafrost to melt faster than ever, discoveries like this could help us better understand the long history of environmental change on our planet. And who knows, as the ancient ice continues to thaw, Siberia may reveal even more creatures that have been sleeping beneath the frozen ground for tens of thousands of years. After all, our world still holds countless mysteries, especially those hidden deep beneath thick layers of ancient ice. 408 footprints from 20,000 years ago, revealed in Africa, a moment of ancient human life frozen in history. In a dry and rugged region of northern Tanzania, scientists have uncovered a remarkable trace of the past, something that can almost be compared to a photograph of ancient history. But instead of a camera capturing the moment, it was the ground itself that preserved it. At this site, American researchers discovered 408 footprints left by ancient humans, all of them still preserved in nearly perfect condition after tens of thousands of years. This is considered the largest number of fossilized human footprints ever discovered in Africa. According to initial analyses, these footprints date back between about 19,100 and 5,760 years ago. Experts believe the reason these prints survived for so long is due to a natural accident that happened thousands of years ago. After a volcanic eruption, a layer of lava cooled and hardened over the ground, unintentionally creating something like a natural layer of concrete. This preserved every step taken by the ancient people who once walked across the surface. It may sound unbelievable, but each footprint here looks as if a single step has been frozen in time. According to evolutionary biologist Kevin Hatala from Chatham University, who also led the research team, finding so many clearly preserved ancient human footprints is extremely rare. He explained that these traces act like a doorway into the past, allowing scientists to visualize human life at a very specific moment in history. In other words, instead of only seeing bones or stone tools, researchers can now observe something far more direct, the actual footsteps of ancient people. After conducting biometric analysis, measuring the size, shape, and depth of each footprint, the team proposed a fascinating hypothesis. They believe the prints may have been left by 17 individuals, including 14 adult women, 2 adult men, and 1 teenage boy. But what makes the story even more vivid is the direction of movement shown by the footprints. When scientists examine them more closely, they notice that most of the footprints from the 14 women move in the same direction, with occasional pauses along the path. This pattern suggests they were likely moving slowly while gathering food, possibly foraging as they traveled. Meanwhile, the footprints of the 3 males appear to approach from a different direction. Based on this evidence, researchers speculate that the group of women may have been out gathering food when they encountered the 3 men, who were likely hunting. After meeting, the two groups may have joined together and continued traveling as a larger group in search of food. Traveling together like this would have allowed them to support one another and increase their chances of surviving dangers in the wild. Interestingly, this type of community organization and cooperative behavior can still be observed today in several traditional tribes in East Africa. But the discoveries at the site did not end there. In the same area, scientists also found footprints belonging to several hoofed animals, including zebras, antelope, and buffalo. Even more intriguing is that many of these animal tracks move in the same direction as the ancient human footprints. This led researchers to suggest another fascinating possibility. The group of humans may have cooperated to hunt large animals, creatures that were much larger and stronger than themselves. If that theory is correct, then these footprints are not simply the traces of an ordinary walk. Instead, they may represent evidence of a coordinated group hunt that took place tens of thousands of years ago. Today, the study of ancient footprints is becoming an increasingly important field in science. Unlike bones or tools, footprints provide something far more dynamic. They capture actual movement, giving researchers the feeling that they are witnessing a real moment of human activity from the distant past. And discoveries like this are not limited to Africa. American scientists are currently collaborating with experts around the world to study tens of thousands of ancient footprints found at White Sands National Park. These footprints are also tens of thousands of years old and belong to both humans and various ancient animals. Early research results from that site suggest that even during the Stone Age, humans were already hunting animals far larger than themselves. This reveals something remarkable about our ancestors. They were not weak or helpless, as some people might imagine. Instead, they worked together, planned strategically, and relied on the strength of their community to survive in a harsh natural world. So what do you think? Do you believe this group of ancient humans truly cooperated to hunt large animals together? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. The 3,000-year-old statue bearing the majestic image of Pharaoh Ramses II. On March 7th, archaeologists from Germany and Egypt presented the world with an extraordinary discovery: a colossal statue believed to depict Ramses II, the ruler often referred to as the great ancestor of the North African kingdom. The statue was excavated at the ruins of the Temple of Ramses II, located in the area of the ancient city of Heliopolis, which today lies in eastern Cairo. This discovery is not merely a statue, it is like a bridge through time, transporting us back nearly 3,000 years to the golden age of ancient Egypt. The statue was carved from quartzite, an extremely hard stone known for its durability and resistance to weathering. This explains how it has managed to survive through many millennia. Khalid El-Anani described the discovery in detail. Archaeologists recovered the torso of the statue, the lower half of the head, along with the crown and a fragment of the right eye. After years of anticipation, the moment when the excavation team finally managed to position the head fragment was filled with excitement that words could hardly describe. Many experts agree that this may be one of the most important archaeological discoveries of the decade, capturing the attention of the global community. What makes the find even more valuable is its strong connection to the history of Pharaoh Ramses II himself, the third ruler of Egypt's 19th dynasty, who reigned from 1279 to 1213 BC. Ramses II is famous not only for his remarkably long reign, but also for his military achievements. During his rule, Egypt's borders expanded as far as Syria in the east and northern Sudan in the south. Later generations honored him with titles such as the Great Ancestor and the Great King of Kings, reflecting the immense power and influence he held, an influence that has endured for thousands of years. You might also wonder whether archaeologists discovered anything else at the site besides the massive statue of Ramses II. Indeed, they did. Researchers also uncovered the upper portion of a limestone statue measuring about 31.5 inches, believed to represent Seti II, the grandson of Ramses II. This discovery suggests that the area was once a major political and cultural center of a powerful royal lineage. Experts are now continuing the excavation in hopes of recovering the remaining pieces. Their goal is to fully reconstruct the statue and eventually display it at the Grand Egyptian Museum, offering the world a remarkable new window into Egypt's glorious past. You can probably imagine the enormous historical and cultural value that this statue represents, not only for archaeology, but also for Egypt's tourism industry. Following the 2011 uprising that led to the removal of President Hosni Mubarak, tourism in the country suffered a significant decline. Now, with the discovery of this monumental statue of Ramses II, Egypt hopes to once again attract international visitors and revive interest in its ancient heritage. In doing so, the country also aims to strengthen its economy by restoring a vital source of foreign revenue. In many ways, this ancient statue is more than just a relic of stone. It may also become a symbol of Egypt's renewed connection with the world. 40 ghost ships beneath the Black Sea, a historical treasure buried for thousands of years. Deep beneath the dark waters of the Black Sea, where sunlight can barely reach, scientists have uncovered a sight that sends chills down the spine. Resting quietly about 492 feet below the seafloor are the remains of more than 40 ancient shipwrecks. They lie there like silent ghosts of the past, preserving stories from a time when maritime trade flourished across these waters. This remarkable discovery was made by an international expedition as part of the Black Sea Maritime Archaeology Project. The project brings together researchers from several countries and is led by the Center for Maritime Archaeology. At first, the team's goal was simply to map ancient landscapes that once existed around the Black Sea, but were submerged as sea levels gradually rose over thousands of years. However, during their survey, they began noticing unusual shapes scattered across the seabed. As their exploration equipment moved closer, a haunting scene slowly emerged, what looked like an ancient ship graveyard. Wooden hulls rested at angles on the ocean floor. Some vessels had partially collapsed with time, yet many still retained enough of their original form to reveal their structure. According to John Adams, the project leader, even the research team was astonished that these ships had survived for hundreds, possibly thousands of years beneath the sea. To investigate the mysterious site, researchers relied on some of the most advanced underwater exploration technologies available today. They deployed two remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, robotic submersibles capable of diving to depths of up to 5,900 feet and traveling at speeds of over 6.8 miles per hour. Equipped with high-resolution cameras and sophisticated seabed scanning systems, these machines recorded detailed images of the ocean floor. Thanks to this technology, scientists were able to study the structure of the ancient vessels without physically disturbing them. By examining the shapes of the hulls, the design of the masts, and several surviving structural features, experts determined that many of the ships appear to be connected to the Byzantine Empire and the Ottoman Empire, two powerful civilizations that controlled and utilized trade routes across the Black Sea for centuries. In other words, these ships may serve as living evidence that the region was once a busy commercial corridor, where goods, people, and cultures from different lands came together and exchanged ideas and merchandise. One aspect of the discovery that particularly amazed scientists is the remarkable level of preservation of the shipwrecks. Normally, wooden structures underwater are quickly destroyed by microorganisms and marine life. However, the Black Sea has a very unusual natural condition. Its deep waters contain almost no oxygen. This oxygen-poor environment acts like a natural preservation vault, allowing the shipwrecks to remain astonishingly intact for centuries. Professor John Adams explained that using underwater 3D imaging technology, the research team can recreate highly accurate digital models of each ship without disturbing the delicate seabed environment. These digital reconstructions will later be combined with historical records to rebuild detailed models of the vessels. Through further study, scientists hope to determine the exact age of each ship, when they sank, and the role they played in ancient trade networks. Initial assessments suggest that most of these vessels were not warships, but rather merchant ships used to transport goods between communities around the Black Sea. If that conclusion proves correct, these wrecks would essentially form an underwater archive of history, helping researchers better understand how people traded, traveled, and connected with one another in the ancient world. Each ship resting down there may once have carried cargoes of grain, wine, metals, or other valuable goods of the ancient era. And then, perhaps because of a violent storm, a navigation accident, or some other misfortune, they sank to the ocean floor, taking their stories with them for thousands of years. So what do you think caused dozens of ships to end up resting together at the bottom of the Black Sea? Was it maritime disaster, war, or could there still be another hidden mystery waiting to be discovered? As you can see, this world is far larger than anything we have ever truly understood. Every ocean, Every stretch of land and even the layers of sediment deep beneath the seafloor are quietly preserving countless stories from the past. Ancient ships resting silently beneath the waters of the Black Sea or any other archaeological discovery are like pieces of a massive puzzle that help us slowly gain a clearer understanding of human history. Yet the more we explore, the more we realize just how many mysteries still remain unsolved. So among the discoveries we talked about today, which one impressed you the most? Share your thoughts by leaving a comment below. I'm really curious to hear your perspective. And if you enjoy fascinating discovery stories like these, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming journeys into the past. For now, goodbye, and I'll see you in the next adventure.